Super League.
2019 Betfred women's Super League champions, the Leeds Rhinos.
Absolutely fabulous.
Saints are champions of Super League again.
Hello, welcome to the Last Tackle, Betfred's Rugby League show. We've got two very special guests this week from the Warrington Wolves. It's Stefan Ratchford and someone who still thinks he plays a game, Jamie Peacock. Jamie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm pretty good considering. I'm not quite. I'd like to think I'm fit enough to play, but I don't think I could last a full game anymore. That's for sure.
Well, we saw you in the Rob Burrow and the Jamie Buchanan Jones testimonial game. You were a little bit unfit in that, but you had just been skiing. Is that correct?
Yeah. I just probably had 4 days on the piste, as they say, before that game. There's no way I was going to miss it. But yeah, it's the first game I've ever played with an headache from hangover, to be honest. And I got an headache from Kylie's head at the end of it. So it was a difficult one.
I know, but I know what you're like. You certainly train like you're still playing the game. Stefan, really appreciate you giving up your time. Look, first and foremost, the most important question, how are you and your family at the moment?
Oh no, thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're doing all right at the moment. We're getting by. It's been obviously not ideal scenarios at the moment with all the homeschooling and all that sort of stuff. But the main thing is we're staying safe and well, and we're just cracking on with our heads down, I suppose.
Yeah, and obviously when you put the news on, it puts it all in perspective what's going on, doesn't it? And our key workers and the NHS are just doing an unbelievable job, Stefan.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, I think it's kind of been highlighted. I think the sad thing is they've probably not had the recognition they deserve until this pandemic's actually happened. And it's kind of just brought it to the fore of how much amazing work they do and how special they are. And
some of your teammates and ex-teammates are doing amazing things. Look at Benny Westwood. He's taking bacon sandwiches to Warrington Hospital, isn't he? The real rugby league community is getting involved.
Yeah, I think that that's what rugby league is. It's massive in the community, and like I said, there's players and ex-players doing what they can. But yeah, Benny Westwood, he set up his Super Benny's food emporium. He's got his little butty van that travels around, and he's been, I think, 1 day a week he gets down to Warrington Hospital and treats the workers to bacon and egg sandwiches.
I just think that's what's great about rugby league and the sport. It's just how accessible the players are. I think they always have been over the last 20 or 30 years since we've all been full-time professional. But I just don't think there's any other sports where we're just so accessible and prepared to be involved and embedded within the community. And I think most fans of teams, probably know someone who knows a player or can get in touch with a player. And I just think, it's a great thing we should never lose from our sport. And I think it's come, you can see that even more so now, given the circumstances we're in, that rugby league players want to give back and want to give back to the community that supported them and the community that they're from as well.
Jamie, as well, while you mentioned that, I think this was a huge factor in getting this funding from the government as well, which was, greatly received by the RFL last week. I think it's the RFL's community work. I mean, I know Stefan's foundation do loads of coaching in schools. Every foundation does. That's why DCMS was so keen to help rugby league, is the work that rugby league does in the community.
Yeah, 100%. Firstly, I think it's great leadership, by the RFL to deliver that. They set out to do that maybe a couple of months ago. They knew it was essential for the game to survive, to get hold of that, know the sport as they know that the moment has been able to get this kind of support from the government. And I think you're 100% right, Mark. It's just how embedded within the communities that rugby league are as a whole. And I think the thing that makes different for rugby league is it's not just the foundations that are embedded within the community, it's the players. The players are all willing and prepared to go out and meet people, to go out and deliver food, to chip in where possible. They see how important it is to be role models within the community, and the large majority of players are that. And I think certainly, given across the north, I know there's teams in the south, but across the north, I think they're just a huge part of, the cities and towns within the north. And to say, let's imagine rugby league disappear forever, I just think it would absolutely be devastating for certain towns and cities.
Stefan, you're nodding your head there. I mean, look, you're steeped in rugby league like Jamie. You've been playing the game, what, since the age of 5, was it? Age of 6 or whatever?
Yes, yeah.
Do you feel like you're part of this family?
Absolutely. Like JP says, I think, what rugby league does for communities, it's absolutely massive. And, some kids are, they're brought up, like I said, they're just brought up with rugby league, and for players to be so accessible, lads will go down and take a training session, or they'll go into a school and meet the players. Like I said, that's all on the back of the good work the foundations at different clubs are doing. But I think it was Ralph Rimmer said last week when he got given the money, I can't remember what his exact quote was like, we're not a rich sport, but we are rich in what we give back and what we do in the community. And I think that was, a real big, focal point for me of, like I said, we're not a rich sport, but what we do give, we're rich in it.
And growing up where you have done and who you play for now, Stefan, you know what rugby league means to people in your area as well, don't you?
Oh, massively. Yeah. Growing up as, in Wigan, I was born in 88, and I think that was just around the time when Wigan won about 8 or 9 Challenge Cups in a row. So as I got to 5 and 6 and had started playing rugby, it was just every year that everyone was out in the street. Wigan were, almost guaranteed to win the Challenge Cups. Like you say, you grow up and you just, like I said, being from Wigan, you're almost born into rugby, and that's just, the way of life, I suppose.
And in these awful times, are you keeping fit, Stefan?
Yeah, lucky enough, again, going back to the community game and all that sort of stuff, there's, a local club not too far from me, Hindley. Their pitch is accessible. There's a gate, just jump over there, and I've been training on their field. So just get on there, do some running on there when I can. I've got a few bits of gym equipment to home. So yeah, it's just a case of doing as much as you can to be in the best shape possible when we do get the green light. And
is it weird training by yourself?
Yeah, it's bizarre. Every day, pretty much, you're going into training, you've got a group of 24, 25, 26 lads. So you're always used to being in that big group environment. You're always in, whether it's in the gym, even if you split, there's 12, 13 players. So you're used to being in that, that group environment, and you've always got someone at the side of you pushing you or, giving you that bit of advice. So yeah, to be doing it on your own, it is hard work, but everyone's in the same situation. Like I said, we've just got to do as much as we can until we get the green light to get back into training.
I mean, ex-players like JP always say to me, look, when I do hang up my boots, what I miss the most is the banter in the changing room during the week. Is that what you're missing at the moment, the banter with the rest of the lads?
Yeah, it is. That, like I said, that's a big thing. What, like I said, people like JP who've retired from the game, that's the big thing they point out, that it's not going to be, no one's going to miss waking up on a Saturday morning and you got 6 stitches in your head and you can't walk and all that sort of stuff. It's being around your teammates and your mates every day. And like I say, you've got that, you can have that crack with them, whether it's in the gym, at dinner time, out on the field. You've always got that banter going on, and it's something we're missing. I mean, it's helpful now with calls like these Zoom calls and podcasts and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's not quite the same as being there and being in the flesh, I suppose.
JP, you're nodding your head.
Oh, I was just thinking, I still wake up some Saturday mornings with 6 stitches and can't walk, but it's not down to playing rugby. I agree totally with Steph. I think it's the thing you miss most. I spent 20 years in dressing rooms, having a great crack with the lads and having a laugh, and it's a little bit not like the real world in a dressing room in terms of PC and everything like that, and it's a good place to be, and it's a good place. What I probably miss as much is just when you're in training and you're training hard and you're all going through getting to the hurt locker together and you're all pushing each other through it, and that, I think it's that shared sense of pain, but that shared sense of accomplishment as well, is that you miss when you finish playing and you're not training with the team. But I do think the players that have the best self-discipline during this period will shine the brightest when we actually get the season up and running. The ones I think of a bit more experience and a bit mentally tougher and have the ability to push themselves harder in training now when they're on their own will be the best players when the season starts again.
Look, JP, we all know you love training. You still love training now, don't you? You're a nutter. But Stefan, are you getting out there every day then? Are you listening to what JP's saying? You think, right then, I want to be absolutely ready when we do return.
Yeah, definitely. I've been trying to, do my weeks almost like it's pre-season again. So I'll probably train, Monday, Tuesday, have a Wednesday off, train Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and have a Sunday off. So I say you've got to do the work, because, like JP says, if you don't, you're gonna go back in. You're gonna be behind the 8 ball, and it's the ones who have, who've done the most training. Like I said, they're going to be at the top. They're ready to go. If we get the green light next week, then we're good to go. We can't afford to be back in and taking 3 and 4 weeks to catch up the speed, because like I say, if you're not up to speed when from the get go, then you're behind the 8 ball, and you're going to make it difficult for yourself, or difficult for your teammates as well. So yeah, we've all been chatting. We're all ripping. We're all trying to have a dig and be in the best shape possible for when we are ready to go again.
And have you had any indication at all when you might be back in training, or when you might be back playing?
I think we're all just in the same situation at the moment. There's a few different rumours and whispers going around, but it's all on the government. We can't kind of, like I say, get out there and start doing stuff with all this going on. Everyone's health and safety has got to come first. So, hopefully sooner rather than later. But we're all, we're at a bit of a loss at the moment as to when it's going to be. But we're certainly ready to go as soon as possible.
And JP, we've got to trust the Super League and obviously the RFL to do the right thing here.
Yeah, I think they will. I think I think what's good for rugby league is that the NRL is going to start beforehand, and we're going to see what does work, what doesn't work in terms of training and protocols and games, and how can we make it look better with nobody watching the game. There's no live audience, so for us, we've almost got like a blueprint of someone going before us. So I think that's going to be good for the game, because I think that will allow us, certainly when we bring the games back, to understand what potential pitfalls can be and what's actually going to work. And I think the RFL will have the best interests of the players and the clubs that are. But I think most players, want to, from my take, would be you'd want to get out there and play. You understand that there is going to be a slight risk with it, but it's about minimising in that risk. And I just think, it'd be fantastic when we can get to see live sport again and, watch a contest that we don't already know the result.
Look, I've spoken to the Super League today. I've been in regular contact with the RFL. Look, the health and safety of players will be absolutely paramount as well. They're talking to the government as well, and rugby will return when it's safe and appropriate as well. Let's just turn the clock back. I was just doing a bit of research ahead of this, and I found out by going onto the Warrington Wolves website that today, in 1954, Warrington beat Halifax 8-4 in a Challenge Cup final replay. Now, it was actually at Odsal, which you know very well, JP, a record rugby league crowd of 102,575. So quite incredible. But it leads us quite nicely, because the Challenge Cup has played a big part in both your careers. Stefan, you actually made your debut, didn't you, in a Challenge Cup when you were at Salford?
Yes. What game? I think, to be honest, I can't remember the game.
Gateshead Thunder.
Gateshead Thunder. I played hooker, actually. I do remember the team. I couldn't think of the team. Played everywhere, yeah. Played hooker that game. Yeah, so, yeah, Challenge Cup's been quite good to me along the way. Obviously, we've had a couple of defeats as well, but as you say, quite fortunate to have lifted the Challenge Cup a couple of times. And as I mentioned earlier, growing up in Wigan, when Wigan were on this run at Wembley and winning, Challenge Cup after Challenge Cup, to grow up watching that and then to actually walk up them steps and lift the trophy it's kind of what dreams are made of, I suppose.
JP, obviously, we all know your record haul of grand final rings, but those 4 Challenge Cups, 2 at Bradford, 2 at Leeds, 4 things you're very proud of?
Yeah, massively. I think you can see the tradition with the Challenge Cup, and I think that's the thing we're missing at the moment. I think me and Stefan can say to you, we've got some great memories from the Challenge Cups, and I think that's what these big games give us. It's some great Challenge Cup memories, and certainly for me, from the 4 winning ones, they stay with me now. You get paid a great reward to play sport, but I think it's the memories that stay with you longer. Other than that,
sorry.
Stefan, it's fine. This is this is what's happening at the moment. We do TV shows that get interrupted by nurseries and schools, don't we? Well, there we are. You see, these things happen. So Stefan's got 3 kids. How are your kids coping with all this, Jamie?
Yeah, they're doing all right. Look, mine are a different age. Mine are a bit older, and it's just about lowering their expectations of what you think you can achieve with homeschooling. So we normally have a good morning's work, and then in the afternoons it's something different. And my role, I think, and we spoke about this off there, is my role in life is to teach my kids life skills, not about suffixes and prefixes. I don't understand them, but I do understand about life skills. So I try to do a bit. But yeah, they're doing okay. They're doing all right. I think it'd be good to see them back at school, and I think they're missing school too. But that's just not the way it is at the moment.
Yeah. No, look, I'm the same. I can do the maths, but then again, I'm a bookie, so I should be able to do the maths. But, well, the English, I can't really talk it, can I? So I'm expected to teach my kids English, but we're trying our best. Back to the Challenge Cup, Stefan. So 2012, you lifted it. You beat Jamie's Peacocks, Leeds Rhinos as well. So that was the first trophy in your career, the first senior trophy. I mean, you must have been just... Can you remember the night? Can you remember the thinking, this is why I started playing rugby?
Yeah, it was. It dropped on quite well, actually. The reason I said when I left Salford is, I'd never played in a, kind of a big game. I'd never played a playoff game, a Challenge Cup. I don't think we even got to a quarter final when I was there. So, the reason I left Salford was to hopefully play in these bigger games. And yeah, luckily, as luck would have it, 6 months of being at Warrington, I was walking out at Wembley, and I can remember. I'm sure JP will tell you when you stood in the tunnel, because you probably stood in the tunnel a good 5-6 minutes before you actually walk out. You can hear a bike with me, you can hear the crowd, you get the goosebumps, and it's a feeling that certainly lives with you, or will live with me for the rest of my life.
I think
you did it again last year, Stefan. Did you enjoy it more last year because you've had the experience, or is it still just as good a feeling?
Still just as good. I don't think you'll ever get bored of win. I don't think you ever get bored of winning. But obviously, to win a game and win a trophy is makes it even more special. I think last year was probably a bit of a different emotion. I went into the the Leeds game as it, like I say, it was going to be my first major trophy and all that sort of stuff. So I really enjoyed that. But last year, I think we enjoyed it in a different way because we had a couple of injuries going into the game. We had people playing out of position. Obviously, Saints were red hot at the time. No one could touch them. They was basically given the trophy before we got there. So to turn up and win the game in the manner that we did was it was real pleasing, but in a different kind of way than the first trophy was. Because
you were huge underdogs, weren't you? Against Saints.
Oh.
Well, and look, let's be honest, you played them off the park.
Yeah, like I say, I think it gave us that not extra motivation, but it was just. We kind of come under the radar a bit. It was a bit like, I think it was 2018, was it when we got beat off Catalan? Everyone had given us the trophy, and Catalan coming under the radar, and we probably believed in our own hype a bit too much in 2018. Everyone was backing us to win, so we thought, we probably will win this, and it's just that's the way it's going to be. And I think last year, like I said, we had a few injuries, a few players, a different position, and. Like I said, Saints were red hot favourites, and we kind of come under the radar and did a real good job on them.
But I've got to bring up the grand final defeats, unfortunately for you, Stefan. And 2012, Jamie and his mob got his own back. What I remember about that game in 2012, that grand final win, Jamie, was your mate Kevin Sinfield was just on a different level that day, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I mean, one of Kev's best abilities as a player was to deliver his best performances in big games, and certainly in the grand finals. In terms of, I think he scored in that game. He got knocked out, still managed to play, keep the goals, and I think it's his. The memory for me of Kev is his ability to recall a game plan and his coolness under pressure in the back ends of games, and ability to find the right kicks within games. And the thing that stands out for me in the probably 2012 season. The difference was I remember being in the tunnel for Wembley, lining up in special light. You're in there a long time. But as Warrington then were probably, I think they'd won a couple of Challenge Cup finals before, and I was stood at the front of our line, with Kev waiting to get out. Turn around and look round at our players. Our players are really nervous and fidgety because we got there the year before, lost. We've lost the last 3 times we've been at Wembley. Really fidgety body language. I watched the Warrington boys. All the Warrington boys were really relaxed, because they've been at Wembley before and won there. So Warrington go out and win, but then when we're in the grand final and you wait a long time at Old Trafford before you go out, about 2 minutes in there, and we had that history of winning at Old Trafford. And this time I looked at Warrington lads, and they were all nervous and really fidgety in the tunnel. I looked at our lads, and our lads just had that focus. They had no fidgety. They were not nervous. They knew what they needed to do. They've been there before to win it. And I think it was a big sign to me afterwards, that we were nervous and we didn't go out there and win. And then Warrington was the same before. And I think it shows when you win a trophy, it's easier to win it again because you've got that calmness and muscle memory to go on and win those trophies.
Stefan, do you wish sometimes the grand final was played at Wembley then? It's not been kind to you, has it, Old Trafford, unfortunately?
Yeah, it might be a bit more help for us. Yeah, obviously it's been frustrating. I think 4 losses, but like JP says, I think in that 2012 season, it was Warrington's first ever grand final appearance and all that sort of stuff, and Leeds were going for the 28th trophy in a row or whatever it was on that time. So for us, it was a totally new experience, and like I said, in the Wembley one, we had players, your Lee Breeze, your Brett Hodgson, said, right, this is how it's going to be. You stand here for so long, you stand, this happens and this happens. Where, Old Trafford was a totally new experience for all of us. We didn't know, what the crowd was going to be like when we walked out. What was it going to feel like when we walked? So, like I say, it was all a new experience, and we was kind of, a bit struck by it all, I suppose, when we went out. And like I said, Leeds had the formula for, turning up in the big games, and unfortunately, they did that night as well.
Because look, in your 4 grand final defeats, you've not been battered, have you? I mean, at Leeds, you were 14-all at half time. 2013, I know you don't need reminding, you were 16-6 up against Wigan. You were up against Wigan in 2016. 2018 was close at half time. You got man of the match that day as well. So you've not been battered. You've been in all these grand finals. Just key moments have possibly not gone your way.
Yeah, I think we've had, like I said, the first one, 2012, Leeds just had that experience on us, and we was good for a point, and then we probably got a bit emotionally drained and ran out of steam at the back end. 2013 was probably one of the toughest ones to take. I think we lost, like I said, we was 16-6 up. Joe Monaghan got taken off with concussion. He was out. Then I went off with my ankle, so I didn't come back on. I think Benny Harrison had fractured his pelvis or something in there, so he was not. So we just ended up with a bit of a mixed match team, and Wigan come over the top of us. So it's been frustrating, and it's difficult, to keep going there and losing. But like I said, we've never been absolutely battered. It's always been nip and tuck, and like I said, we probably just not got there in the crucial moments. And like I say, hopefully we can we can put that right in this next little while. Hopefully at the end of this year we can put it right, and when the big players count in the last few minutes, we can turn up and hopefully get the victory.
Look, there's been encouraging signs this season. I know you'll be disappointed with the 3 defeats, but I mean that win over St Helens this year, that was impressive in the Super League. Yeah,
I think one of our biggest issues we've had at Warrington probably over the last 2 years or so is our inconsistency. We know we've got 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 performance in us, and that, like I said, that showed when we went to when we played Saints, we come up 19-0, and then I think was it the week or 2 weeks after we go to Leeds and get beat 36-0 or whatever it was. So I think that's been our big issue, is our inconsistency. We've got to find that level of being an 8 out of 10 every week, rather than being a 10 out of 10 and then a 2 out of 10 the week after. So we can get some consistency and turn up and perform well. We know we can beat any team on our day. It's just a fact of turning up and being the team that we know we can be.
Jamie, how do you see it from what's the view from the other side of the Pennines? Because I remember doing a pre-season preview with you a couple of years ago. You were tipping Warrington, and then just not quite happened, has it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought this year, I really thought I would say it's their year in the preview, don't I? And I think most of the fans say that. I think, it's the comical part of it. But when I watched that performance against Saints at the beginning of the year, I thought, you know what, they're on. This could happen. This, and then 2 weeks later, or you know, when the performance was against Leeds were good that night, but they shouldn't have been 30 or 40 points better than Warrington. And I think it's a real issue that they need to solve, because I think having that ability to perform at the level where they beat Saints means you can win cups. You know, there's no doubt about it, because as you get towards the back end of the year, you need to play 3 or 4 games like that, string 3 or 4 games together, and you can win the grand final, get to Old Trafford. But it's that ability to string 3 or 4 games together that would be the worry for probably the senior players and, you know, the coaching staff at Warrington. And we won't know anything about that until we resume again, will we? If you've been able to fix it during lockdown.
Wow. Have you been able to fix it in lockdown then, Stefan?
Well, time will tell. It's, no, I mean, like JP says, that's our biggest issue. We know we've got that performance in the bag, and we know we can do it. It's just, you know, like JP says, getting a run of it together, and when we are on, like I said, we know we can beat any team. It's just getting that performance in, you know, week after week, and it might not be, you know, 10 out of 10. It might be a 9 out of 10, but you know, we've got to do that 3, 4, 5 weeks on the bench rather than a 10 out of 10 into a 2 out of 10.
Gents, we're running out of time. Look, I really appreciate you coming on, and it's, you know, a very, very difficult time. And look, love talking about rugby league. You know what we're like as sponsors. We might be the sponsors, but you know, we love the game. And Stefan, you know, good luck with training. Hope to see you on the pitch soon. And JP, very quickly, what's your training at the moment? What are you training to do? Is it to climb up virtual Everest or something like that? What are you doing?
I'm going to, you know what, on Friday, if I'm feeling all right on Friday, I'm going to have a crack at doing like an half Ironman duathlon. So I'm going to run 21k and watt bike 90. So I'm going to see if I can do that on Friday. I'll let you know. I'll stick on Instagram if I do it.
JP, you're nuts. It's going to be a lovely weather on Friday. It's a bank holiday. Nobody makes a lot of difference. It's a day to pretend your back garden's a beer garden, I think, on Friday. Okay? That's what I'm going to be training to do. Gents, really enjoyed your time. Hope you've enjoyed watching Betfred's last tackle. And please, look, stay in, stay safe. See you next week.
He can! Toronto are heading for Super League!
2019 Betfred winning Super League champions, the Leeds Rhinos.
Absolutely fabulous!
Saints are champions of Super League